we'll get on to the next. So Grofers was mentioned in the Forrester presentation, right? I guess you had called out Grofers because of their focus on private label merchandise, if I recollect correctly. So we have Jacob Singh he's the CTO for Grofers. He is going to also dwell on how to leverage data to deliver customer experience and drive growth. So can we welcome him the traditional way with a huge round of applause, please? Thank you.
Sorry about that. Okay, I'll stand here then. So the folks in the front, what's your favorite food? Yeah. Biryani. And what about you? Salads. Okay. And ma'am? Butter chicken. Yeah? Okay, good. And you? What's that? Sandwiches. Okay. So if I had to take all four of them out to dinner, where should we go? Kind of hard to decide, isn't it? This is one of the most difficult questions to answer. Is anyone here in a long-term relationship or have been in a long-term relationship? Raise your hand. Marriage, whatever, yeah. You know that the average American couple spends 5.5 24-hour days per year deciding what to eat. And that's two people who've agreed that they are the most compatible with each other on the planet, and they still spend this long every year trying to decide what they should eat. And you expand that a little further, and you take this whole auditorium, that decision would be pretty much impossible, right? So we can all agree that the more diversity you have, if you expand that even beyond this room, and you look at all of Mumbai, for instance, or all of India, that decision becomes more and more impossible. So the more people you have to agree with, the harder it is to agree. Can we all agree on that? Yes? Okay. Got to be a smart ass in the front row, disagree. Okay, proving my point. Thank you, sir. When I was, before this role, so I had product and engineering for Grofers. Before this role, I was working as a country manager for a B2B company, SaaS company. How many of you worked in software? A few of you? A few people, all right. So when you work in a B2B company, it's sort of like having a dog as a customer. I don't mean my customers aren't like dogs, but you go to the customer, you ask them what they want, and with the dog, you sort of ask them what they want, and it's usually to be fed or to be petted or taken for a walk or to lick their genitals, and you kind of do whatever they want, and then they're happy again, right? With B2C, it's a lot more like an ant farm. You can't talk to them. They won't talk back to you, really. You can talk to a couple, but there's so many it's hard to discover what's going on. Except that the ants are more maybe like hornets, and they hate you, and their order is 3 hours late, and they're screaming at you in social media. And so it's really hard sometimes to do a good job in this scenario. Would you all agree? Who do you listen to? Because even when they say things like this, he's quit Grofers, I think, 3-4 times, but he keeps coming back. So customers that say a certain thing don't necessarily behave that way at all. And that's not to say that we don't talk to our customers. We do. You should talk to your customers. Of course you do. But when we talk about our customers, we're servicing 2 million people a month all over India from all walks of life. We've grown a lot as a business, and we have a very diverse customer base, and they all want very different things. So one of the ways that we try to figure out what customers want is NPS. I'm sure you guys, most of you do NPS. So here's our NPS scores from May or something. I know these aren't Apple and Google numbers, but we deliver potato chips off the back of a motorcycle, so you get what you expect. What becomes interesting here, though, is when you break it down by income level. So at 50,000 rupees a month, you can see that product quality is a 21 versus a 2 for over 50,000 rupees a month. For customer support, 6 and minus 17. For delivery timelines, 14 and minus 15. That's a 30-point spread between people who earn less than that amount and more than that amount. So what you can see is that we're running two businesses side by side. One which is going exceptionally well, and one which is going really poorly. And that would be fine, except for our customer base is essentially split in half against this demographic. So when you do any kind of analysis, it's going to come out in the wash that you're sort of pleasing one, you're probably displeasing the other. And this applies across lots of different things. Old people find our offers and discounts far better than young people. Our customer support, men are angry and entitled. Women are really happy not to have to leave the house and go to the supermarket and happy just to have someone to talk to. If you look at a city like Bombay and our delivery timelines, which has floods and strikes and every other manner of disruption, it's a minus 34. You look at Calcutta, same service, roughly same demographic, it's a 25. It's a 60-point spread based on where we are. So what happens? In an organization, everybody kind of thinks that there's some other customer to listen to. You guys ever this experience? Everyone has a lot of debates. Who's doing quarterly planning or annual planning right now? Defining OKRs? Yeah? Sucks, doesn't it? This is why it sucks, because everyone has a different opinion about what to do, because everyone's touching a different part of the elephant. The Mumbai team says we need a new module to handle rescheduling. Okay. The margins team says, okay, we should have more chocolate and gourmet products because we know we'll get better margins, and some of our customers are asking for those, but we're a discounter, so maybe that's not good. Growth marketing will want to go into India too, where we think we have more growth possibilities. Everyone has a different opinion of what to do. And we learned as a company that was a path to irrelevancy. I want to show you guys quickly a video from our ad. This is our spot that Grofers ran in 2015, 2016. So, are we?
How was your day?
Don't ask.
वैसे आज मैं जरा जल्दी आ गया था. घर का सारा सामान ले आया. 2 कार्टन मिल्क, जूसेस, एग्स, फैट फ्री बटर और स्ट्रॉबेरीज. मालती बोली थी क्लीनिंग मॉप चाहिए. ले आया. किचन भी स्टॉक्ड है. उड़द दाल से दालचीनी तक. अब वो देखो तुम्हारे फेवरेट लिलीज एंड क्रिसैंथेमम्स. ये देखो शिया बटर वाली तुम्हारी क्रीम. एंड लास्टली Bluetooth speakers just for you.
Baby, fill my love seat. Oh, can you feel my cushion? Can you feel it? Oh yeah.
You don't always get what you want, which is why we get what you need.
Just order.
Grofers. Get everything. From groceries to veggies to cosmetics to tech accessories. Delivered to your doorstep. Grofers. We get it.
Is that good? I think it's a good ad. We can give some claps for the marketing guys. They worked hard. They made a lot of money. You know who else really liked that ad? Investors. So Grofers launched, raised about $150 million in the first year on a business that was basically doing 12 million and went pretty much flat. And this made Grofers kind of the laughing stock of the startup ecosystem. Raised all this money, big fancy office, hired a bunch of people, expanded into a whole bunch of cities, and went flat. Because the whole model back then was a marketplace model, similar to Instacart, or what Swiggy and Dunzo were trying to do now, which God knows why they're trying to do that, because there's no money in it. And that model really didn't work, and we couldn't grow that business. And so we pivoted really hard to a totally different way. As a bunch of soul searching happened, and we sort of figured out a different demographic to go after. And since then, Grofers changed a lot. I'll just show you the ad now that we do. So this is the current ones we run.
मिनटों शॉपिंग कर घंटों लाइन में बिताना टिमटिमाती रोशनी में आंखें
हैं? ग्रोफर्स पे ये सब इतने कम में आता है?
जी हाँ, क्योंकि ग्रोफर्स बिना शोरूम खर्च बीच के डीलर्स हटा के राशन सीधा आपके घर लाता है. ग्रोफर्स से सस्ता किसी सुपरमार्केट में नहीं. ग्रोफर्स.
सुपर सेविंग्स का सुपरमार्केट.
It's pretty different. So we went from a consumer that looks sort of like this to a consumer that looks something more like this. We said no to a lot of good ideas. We said yes to a great one. And this is what's really critical. If you're listening to everybody, you will do nothing worthwhile. So we stopped selling fruit and veg. We went from an assortment of 30,000 products to an assortment of 1,500. Went from selling gourmet, went from selling chocolates, that kind of stuff, to we have dairy milk and we have like Amul dark chocolate. That's it. We had 20 brands of atta, now we have 4. Good and cheap, Grofers brand, Ashwavad. And this allowed us to economize our supply chain and lower our prices, and we discovered that that's really what people want in India, and let's give it to them. This is our split. We went from men who forgot things to women who were trying to squeeze every rupee out of their household budget. And this is really what worked and why we went from 60 million to 700 million in revenue in the last GMV in the last 2.5 years. Dollars. So this is kind of where we are now. And this is where the story sort of starts in terms of what we've been doing and how we've been struggling now, the wall we're hitting. At this scale, we actually have a different term we use, which is called NIPS. NIPS is neither this thing nor this thing. NIPS is noodle inches per second. So today, we will sell enough instant noodles that if it was one noodle, it would extend to Delhi, to Mumbai, and back again. So we're operating at about 1,700 NIPS currently, and growing. And as you all know, when you're operating at 1,700 NIPS, everything is kind of broken. Every system that you had, every way you understood your customer is changing. And at scale, opinions aren't good enough. It's not enough to say that you're the boss and you have this opinion why you think this market's going to go this way. That just leads the entire company into disarray. So as we scale, I think we all know that the most challenging thing is alignment, getting everyone on the same page, focusing on one thing and doing it really well. And at scale, we found that data is really the only way to create that sustainably. So we invested a lot in using data to drive our decision making, as opposed to the hippo. You guys know what the hippo is? No? Yeah, the highest paid person's opinion, right? The hippo in the room. So we built a whole team, did a big retention analysis this year. We found some interesting things. I'm going to share them with you around things that we discovered. And we had analysts, we had product people, we had designers, we had user researchers, we had data engineers. I won't go into the details. I skipped a lot of slides because it's just a 15-minute talk, which I'm making good progress, good time on. Essentially, I'm going to show you some slides around a thing we developed called the odds ratio. What this looks at is the propensity for someone to become long-term retained based on a treatment in their first order. So as probably most of you know, most retention graphs in the B2C business look like this, right? And ours is no different. And that initial treatment that we need to discover is what is the thing that gets someone coming back for the second to third order. We figured out that 3 months is the period. If someone orders 3 orders in 3 months, then they have a high degree of probability to become long-term retained for us, which is about 6 months, and they stay with us forever at that point. So we looked at sort of the strength of signals at different things on the first order, different hypotheses. Some of them were about service delivery. That Mumbai team says it's because we reschedule so much in Mumbai. That's why people are leaving. And the marketing team says, it's because we don't personalize our offers enough. That's why people are leaving. The category team says our assortment is too small. That's why people are leaving. We said, shut up and go away. We're going to look at the data. We did that for 3-4 months. And these are some of the things that we came up with. The biggest one is staples. Customers who buy staples, customers who buy rice, dal, atta, oil, etc., they are 4 times more likely than customers who only buy FMCG products. The hypothesis is probably that we're not a convenience platform, we're a pricing platform. We're not made for people who are high income and want something fast, or made for people who are lower income and predominantly buy staples, so it's a better customer segment that we're attracting here. So this is one. And we use this also to inform our marketing channels. So instead of just looking at our LTV generally across our marketing channel, we look at how many customers are coming in who buy staples from this channel versus that channel, and kind of predictively sort of try to improve those numbers because we know they're correlative. Another big one is our brands. So private label is the biggest way that we, as a company, can really sustainably make money. As many of you know, I'm sorry, I didn't catch the woman who was speaking on the panel, her name. She's saying she started at HUL. A lot of people in this room probably worked for the FMCG companies. They have massive overheads. They have massive disaggregated supply chains. And so the potential for private label to go direct to consumer and disrupt a lot of that is very strong in India. And we found that resonates with our customers. So customers who add a product from our brand are far more likely than who don't. What's interesting about this solves a debate internally. So the debate internally is marketing people say, don't lead with private label. Lead with a national brand. Because a national brand is something people know. So they will benchmark against that. You get them on the platform, you get them comfortable, and then you start pitching your private label. That makes sense, right? But we found it to be untrue, because we just look at the first order itself. If a customer doesn't buy our private label, they're not going to retain with us. We've established that from the first order. So there's really no point in that analysis. Yes, you'll get better conversions, but you'll get much lower retention down the road. And this is what's important when companies try to start thinking longer term, is to start looking at those early signals. And so it's still under debate, but we have found this traction has really helped us believe in our strategy and stick to our core strategy, where people might waver from it because the conversion on private label may be lower. We took it a step further. We actually looked at which products specifically are going to have a higher odds ratio. And the reason we did this is it actually helps with our product development. So we know that if someone's buying Grofers toilet cleaner, they have a low chance to retain. And as a customer of Grofers toilet cleaner once, I can say that anecdotally that makes sense. But anyway, we sort of know which products we need to iterate on, which ones are not causing people to stick with our platform. This one's not a very pretty slide, but it's the most interesting one. So we looked at price perception hypothesis. We assume as a discounter that being cheap is best. It's true, but to a point. So we benchmark, obviously, against Big Basket. What we find is that once we get to, these are for carts between 500 to 1,000 rupees. When we get to about 2.5% cheaper than Big Basket, which is the third point, our retention rate kind of tops out. Beyond that, discounting doesn't actually help us. So it's a huge realization that it's not a linear curve. It doesn't mean that just being cheaper is going to get you there forever. Even more interesting is in a small order, it actually hurts you. So in a small order, it's a parabola effect. When you get to heavy discounting, you actually have even less retention than the middle. That's kind of weird, right? The reason for this, it turns out, is generally that we're attracting deal seekers. So we have one product on a super discount because we do a deal with a brand. They come in, they buy that one product, they make a small cart to get the free delivery, and then they never come back again. So it just attracts the wrong kind of customers. It attracts a lot of customers. In the past, we'd say, good job. Wow, great job. We got this great deal category. Marketing, good job promoting it. Good job, tech. We handled the sale. And we'd all be happy that we got so many new users converting on the app, but they're actually all junk because we didn't really look at what kind of users this kind of product, this kind of discounting attracts. So again, I kind of abridged a longer presentation, but I would say just to close, one thing that we've learned is that great organizations do one thing well, and they stay that way with good data. So data governance and data-driven decision-making is more and more becoming the lifeblood of how we run the company. And I'm happy to talk to you afterwards if you have any questions around the things we've done on the tech side, on the product side, and the marketing side to enable that transformation. And thank you for your time.
So any questions for Jacob?
Everyone wants coffee and tea.
Perfectly clear.
Yeah, maybe.
So I guess if there are no questions, anyways, Jacob, you're going to be around, so people can ping you when needed. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
An outstanding, short little presentation. Thanks for staying with the time limit. And as a method of our appreciation, can I have the memento, please?